Okay, we're demonstrating the shoulder joint, glenohumeral joint. We're demonstrating shoulder abduction and shoulder adduction, which occurs in the frontal plane, rotating around the sagittal axis. And demonstrating with a lateral arm raise, shoulder abduction and shoulder adduction. Okay, and for lumbar spine, lateral flexion, which occurs in the frontal plane around the sagittal axis. Okay, lumbar spine flexion with a side bend. And demonstrating for shoulder girdle, protraction and retraction, which occurs in the transverse plane around the longitudinal axis. Demonstrating shoulder girdle with the bent over rows, we're going to show retraction and protraction. We're demonstrating knee flexion and extension, which occurs in the sagittal plane around the transversal axis. And demonstrating knee flexion and extension with a forward lunge, flexion, and extension. Okay, and we're demonstrating the hip rotation with a lateral rotation and a medial rotation, which occurs in the transverse plane around the longitudinal axis. And with lying down leg rotations, we're going to demonstrate a lateral hip rotation and a medial hip rotation. We're discussing the Tensegrity model here that we have made of dowels and rubber bands. So Tensegrity is the tension and integrity of this structure, which is representing the body. So the dowels are the bones, the rubber bands are the muscles and fascia that are creating tension to pull this structure and hold it together in the body. So because none of these rods are touching each other, neither are the bones in the body touching each other, because all the muscles are holding and keeping all this structure together all on its own. Now when something happens in one side of the body, as you can see here as I push it, this rod's moving, this side is compressing to compensate for that movement on the other side of the body there. For an example of tension on a bone in the body, the femur bone, the longest bone in the body, that bone has so much tension from the muscles surrounding it that when a femur breaks in a car accident, it doesn't just break and stay there. Both those bones, because of the tension surrounding them, slide one together up against each other, and that person's leg actually ends up by their ear. And it's the same thing for the Achilles tendon, is that tendon just at the base of the heel. It doesn't just snap and stay in place and be disconnected. People who experience tearing their Achilles tendon feel that impact up in their upper gastrocnemius because the tension on the tendon has pulled it way up right behind their calf. Thank you.